Good evening. I'm Ashok Kartham. I came to Tampa 1 year ago to start m-ize, and actually this month is my first anniversary. So first let me thank all of you for welcoming us here. It's been a great 1 year, and today, I think all the fun stuff about fundraising, I want to talk about the hard stuff. Okay? One is to realize if you have an idea or a vision for a startup, to realize it, you of course have to bring a product to the market. To bring a product to the market, you need to build it. To build it, you need a good team to do that. So today I kind of want to talk about how to build a team and launch a product. And in the last year, we have built a good, very core team in Tampa, as well as a global team. We have released a couple of consumer-facing products called Support Me and My Products, and also we're on the way to release like an enterprise product called Customer Central. I want to share some of those experiences. Also, I draw upon, like I think all of you, things like a lean startup, agile process and things like that, to make sure how we can convert vision into a successful product. Okay. So again, for the today, Sarah and I coordinated PowerPoints, so we can use that. So, in the interest of time, I kind of want to take a few major steps. Obviously, first thing is, if we have a vision, magically that's not going to turn into a product. Right? We need a product roadmap. You always have a lot more than funding will support in the beginning, so we need a roadmap to do it. And then to implement that roadmap, obviously, even if it's a single-person team that starts it, you do need a core team to implement that roadmap. And then you need to be able to iterate through until you can launch a successful product. So we'll go through those steps. Again, that all can be summarized as, again, after this, actually we can say it's done, is agile team making visible progress every day. Right? On the product roadmap towards a unique and well-designed product that customers want and love. Right? That's the purpose of building and launching a product. So when we look at the product roadmap, it could be even you saying is, I will just look at the next year. These are the things that we will deliver. And again, we will talk about how do you decide what you will deliver in the first quarter. Is this something to show to the investors, to share with the customers or other stakeholders, or actually you have a prototype and things like that. So it's very, very important to be able to have a product roadmap. But to create that product roadmap, you need to be able to answer some key questions. Right? Who is your customer? Again, in our case, if we take it, as I think they were saying, is we are a platform that connects consumers to brands. So one of the key things we needed to answer was, who is our first customer? Right? And again, for us, we said is, if we are trying to create a better experience for the end customers, consumers are the ones that are going to use this product that we are creating. Actually, we are enabling the brands to engage them at the end, so we wanted to take consumers first. But in your case, you may have to decide who you are serving. So part of our initial products, as I said, were focused on how do we serve these initial consumers. Then we can address the brand needs. Right? And again, like you might have seen the social network, I think the initial conflict was whether you go after growing the consumers or you advertise. Right? I think famously it was decided they would go after the consumers so they can build enough user base before going after the advertisers. So similar way, I think that decision is very important because you will be spending a lot of the initial money on finding the initial consumers that will take you to the rest of the way. Then why would they buy from you? Again, this is very important. What is unique? What is the value proposition? These are the things that need to be answered. Again, some of this you may say, we will try to figure it out when we have the product. It's the marketing job, right? That you might feel that way. But we do believe that you need to have a lot of these questions answered to really build a product that you can take to the market, that customers will take it. And so some of the key questions that we ask too is, in addition, like if you take it, like I know we can say we are in the app business as well as the software business, but this is true for any product. So if we said what is the most important aspect of the product, right? At the end, it is the customer experience. Right? How will that product work in the customer's world? Right? So again, as we look at later, a lot of decisions are based on this. Let's say one of the key decisions people face in the app business is, do you develop like a native for the device, or do you do cross-platform on the website? Again, we said if our most important aspect is customer experience, what will give us better experience? Answer was, we need to do native development. That seemed to give a better experience, even though it may cost us a little bit more. Right? So again, a lot of your answers may be different, but we think those are important to be able to decide how you would go about it. Again, the next question is, if we were to ask you, again, what is the most difficult issue in the product or app business? It's not building the product, okay? It's being found. Right? There are million plus apps on a Apple App Store, or even if you take it, I think even consumer products, actually I was preparing for this, I was reading a stat that said consumers generally buy 150 products. Most of the time they live with those, 80% of your needs are met with those 150 products. But if you look at products, if you go to a grocery store or any store, there are millions of products. Right? So for a new product to come into the market, it's very difficult. So part of, again, why I'm talking about that is, if you're really thinking about what to focus on, what should your product roadmap be, is how would you address this problem of being found? Right? So for us, we said is being found is, one way we will be found is through other customers. Right? Either it's the social networks. If you have to go market to all the consumers, you'll end up, again, having to raise few hundred millions or something like that to acquire these consumers, which may not pay for it. So part of what we had to decide was, how do we build into our product? So hopefully it will widely grow. I know that's what we all want, but we do want to think through that. So part of, I think, even before releasing the product, what we have to do, even in the first product, is how do we build more connections to the social network? How do we make it easier for them to share the product right away? So again, these are some of the things, the features that we focused on early on. So, and another thing is lean enterprise talked about this. When you start on a startup, or when you're thinking of a product, I think one thing we have plenty of is ideas, features, right? If you talk to anyone and customers to get feedback, they will tell you 10 more things you can do with the product in a way. So it's not the lack of ideas, lack of features. I think the key thing is what will get you to the market. Again, the concept of a MVP, which is minimum viable product. What does that mean? If you take the minimum, there are, like if you take any product, right, Microsoft Word, any of those, you use 5% of the functionality. Right? There are a few others that may use it. So there are a lot of crappy products that nobody wants to use. Don't do those. Just because there is that feature, don't do those things. Right? Then if you take the viable side of it, you do want to be able to do, there are a lot of good features, but you cannot do all of them because initially you don't have resources, either team or funding to do it. So you need to figure out what is that you can do, still be able to have customers want it, so later you can go after the new releases in a way. So again, it's important to be able to draw that and figure out what is this minimum viable product that you can go to market with. So part of, I think that's it. So now if you take the product roadmap, then you know, if you answer all your questions, who is your customer, why would they buy from you, what is the most important thing, what is the most difficult thing, and what is this minimum viable product, hopefully you have a plan to say for the next 3 quarters, 4 quarters, we have this product roadmap. Right? Once you have the product roadmap, we need to be able to say, how do we find our dream team? Right? That will make sure that they will deliver it. Part of, again, is startups, it's difficult to attract dream team. Right? But at the same time, we think there are some strategies that can be used. And also when we try to build a product team, I kind of didn't want to approach, because we are talking about incubator, I had to put at least an egg for an incubator. Okay? But I think seriously the model is, it's not about filling a hierarchy. Right? In a startup, you're not trying to have a CEO, CMO, CTO, and all these C letters and then VPs and things like that. What you need is a core team. What is the core team that can deliver that minimum viable product that we talked about in the first 2 quarters in a way? Right? For us, again, how did we decide who the core team is? Right? We said, for us to manage the roadmap, to figure out what features, because we do think our vision was broad. Right? We need to make sure we have the right product manager that can decide what is the most important things. So that's one of our first hires. Similarly, user experience was very important for us. So we said we need a user experience person that's need to be there, and also actually that need to be built. So we have a lead developer. right? We didn't go out and hire like a lot of the management talent initially. Right? Our focus was to get product to the market. We need this coating. Then, actually, we need some supporting. They may not be able to do all the things. This can grow over time. These are the ones you could use part-time. You could do any other way to do it. It could be you need some more developers. You need a QA. You need, some database infrastructure, those kind of things. Again, we try to use, especially these days, it's very easy to get this. Right? We use AWS to host it. Right? As you grow, it can grow with you. And then we also have an extended team, which is there could be influencers, the connectors, some of the connections that we have, so they can kind of help you find core team members or connect you to the funding and other things to do it. So for us, again, we say is, when you think of a team, think of an egg, and how do you incubate it so it can hatch soon, and use this egg model. So hopefully you remember that as the model to do it, not as a hierarchy that I need to hire a lot of people. I know investors, again, lead you to different ways. They will say, we invest in management. Right? And so we kind of rush to have, like, even the company that I invested here locally, they have like all students, but their titles are chief scientist, chief whatever kind of thing. Don't rush to have that. But we'll say is, if we have a core team that can deliver the product. Right? So then once you have it, so part of we also do is, we do think once you have the team, any dream team, right? Even if you take the dream team US had, they had to work together. So we do think it's important to be able to have some core values for the team, right? And build a culture to do it. Again, these are some of the core values we came up with. Again, your core values would be different. Again, as we said, we wanted to pick based on what we are trying to deliver, right? We said simplify is the most important aspect of customer experience. We want to create a product like iPhone, right? Who doesn't? So what is it about it that they like? So again, we think is we want to simplify the life for our customers. We want to simplify things internally to do it. And again, I won't go through all of them. So we said learning is important, collaboration is important, and our model is about enabling either our customers as well as internally. So again, I think team has a focus. I think this is how when you collect the team, they can come together. Right? So we think being able to have that core team, building the support team over time, and having the right set of values will help you deliver. Again, I'm not talking about coding practices. That's a different session if you're interested in technically, but I think these other things are very important. So as we look at then, you have a team working on it, even though you have a roadmap, especially and if you take as a startup, there needs to be a process to deliver the product. A lot of times it's not just hacking about a product. At the end, we think like there will be a right product to do it. I think it's Einstein that said, you cannot expect a monkey to throw bricks and expect a house to come up. Right? So the same way it is, again, at the same time, you want to be as a startup, see the product all the while, right, every day. Like we talked about it, visible progress every day. And then I think that they talk about the iteration, whatever the iteration is. You need to be able to take some idea, code it, show it, be able to measure it, and then say, is this something we want? Be able to go to the next one. So if we take that, again, I think anyone that's building in the product, we use the agile process. So I think that's a right process for startups. You have a lot of backlog of it. You need to be able to create an iteration and then be able to test it and then go back to creating the next iteration to do it. I think again this is very important, and we have actually a lot of best practices around it. Right? We said even first thing what we do is like a wireframe or a prototype. Then we know at least we can take this vision, now see this at least being somewhat real. Right? And we have a daily build process. Anyone that's doing it, again, these are not the new processes, they exist. It's again part of being able to say, how far have we come today? Does it look closer to our vision? Right? And that will also help you to say you are not accumulating a lot of defects. It's not like everybody is going on their own way. When you have limited resources, building something, do you have to go redo it? Maybe that's not something that's not needed. So again, if you take it, it's very important how do you deploy it. Like especially if you take mobile phones, it was initially difficult to say how do you get the app onto the phone. Even I want it every day. I'm going to every evening. First thing or in the morning I see is, what do we have today? How far have we come in realizing the vision to do it? And then again, a lot of collaborative tools. If the collaboration is very important, even if it's a small team, how do you share it? How do you show the product to do it? Again, we invest in the tools, to make sure our team can collaborate well, whether it's Microsoft Lane, SharePoint, or all the other tools to do it. So again, if you are thinking of investment, these are the right tools, team to be very productive to do that. So again, once we have the product ready, we want to launch the product. If we take the recent history, again, a best example is everybody would like to launch a product like Steve Jobs and to do it. But actually, he has built a lot of businesses, right? The products that everybody wants to do it. But we do think as startups, there are lessons learned. We can apply some of those lessons. If we take it, again, when you are trying to describe the product, it's not about the features of the product, right? You need to provide a picture for people to be able to see how would customers live in this feature. So yesterday, world was without your product. Today, there is a world with your product. How is it different in the customer's life? Okay? And also, we want to say is, how does it affect the customer? Right? What is the value it brings to the table? And also, is this the product customers will show off them or they want to hide? Again, goes back to is, does it have a good design? Right? Is this something that they will share with friends to do that? And is this a product that people want to talk about? And also, I think it's a big deal. We do need, I think we are learning on this. It's a very big deal that you do have a product. And a lot of people that start on building the product may not even finish it. If you do get to the launch stage, it's a big deal, so make a big deal about it. So if we take a lot of these steps, again, we are learning. When we launched this product, we thought everybody will talk about it. Right? The local media will say, wow, we have a great product to do that. But they are more interested in doing, again, part of the lessons learned is how do you make it unique? Why is it different to do that? And again, we are learning on how to get the media attention. Again, 2 days ago, we learned another way. Right? I think thanks to Miley Cyrus, she showed us, introduced a new word called twerking. Okay? So I thought, I asked Bruce, our marketing manager, looks like there is a new way to get the attention. He said, I can tweet, I can use Google Glass to get attention. Twerking is not good to do it. So we need a different way to get attention anyway. So part of, I think, is what stands out. What is that gets people's attention? It's the different story that we can tell to the press to do it. Again, part of what we have done, some of the things is